outside of your comfort zone. I'm a collector of words, I'm a collector of moments, and I'm a collector of people. So can we go on a journey together? It was 7 years ago. I woke up normal, but today was such a different day. It was a morning filled with anticipation. It was like crazy, like creative chaos. I was in a hotel room with 4 of my children, my husband Dan. I was tying ties, curling my daughter's hair, and counting down until the limo arrived. You see, I had dreamt of this day for 13 years. I had created a vision in my mind and formed a true gratitude in my heart for this day to have happened. I wasn't sure how I would feel. The feeling was actually quite different. I was feeling calm among the craziness around me. I felt like I was at home. It was peaceful. This day was the day I debuted as a national sales director. NSD is never stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming. When you never stop dreaming, one day you will wake up and you will be where you always dreamt of being. So let's flash back. My family has always been excited for new journeys, and we actually took free vacations 20 years ago, prior to Mary Kay. It was a free vacation to Grandma's house. 7 hours in a minivan with 4 beautiful children. Sandwiches were packed, survival treats were planned, and prayers given for long naps. And I remember these long trips in the minivan. My husband and Dan and I would play a game, and we'd start to dream about our life. Dan and I would play, what if we would win the lottery? Have you ever played that game? Okay, so if we would win the lottery, what would we do? Number 1, we would want to have more than enough. More than enough to give back to family, to give back to charities, to give back to church. Wouldn't it be great to have more than enough? Number 2, we would educate our children so they don't have to start their life in debt. Number 3, we would build a dream home, but this home would represent the life, the beautiful life of our family. And number 4, we would travel the world and have crazy life experiences. We are blessed to have had so many of these choices. We've also had a choice for my husband Dan to quit a very, very stressful job and to help me in growing and building our business for 5 years when our children were young. And I remember his last day at work. They came in, and it was in a huge boardroom, and they were all popping up saying nice things. And then they came in with this huge cake, and on the cake was a pink Cadillac. And after beautifully remodeling our home, we were able to buy our very first Mary Kay home and our 4th year as a unit only on our Mary Kay income. We have traveled to the most exquisite places in the world and discovered something new about each other and about ourselves in every single place. I knew one of his very, very favorite places we traveled was Munich, Germany for Oktoberfest. And I remember standing on the edge as the Oktoberfest parade would walk by, and I had this big heart cookie around my neck. And also being able to have reserved seating in the Hofbräu Mary Kay style. But then we took a trip to Bavaria, to the highest mountain in Germany, Mount Zitzwitz. It's 10,000 feet up on a cable car. And what I realized is sometimes your perceived weakness can become your greatest strength. I is the word, so afraid of heights, and to stand on the ground and watch this cable car disappear in the clouds, I was shaking. I knew Dan was so excited to go, so I held my breath, I closed my eyes, and I summoned up 30 seconds of courage to step into that car. I could feel the temperature change on my face. First, it was a cool mist as we were going through the clouds. And as we were getting higher, it got colder and colder. Then I could feel my breath, and then I could feel the snow. But I made it to the top. I was on top of the world. God-inspired, breathtaking views, 400 mountain peaks in 4 countries. And there is when I discovered that sometimes you have to just take that first step. You may not know what you're capable of doing until you do. And what might seem so hard right now will only become your warm-up later. You can face your fears and have those mountaintop experiences. And that is just one of the many crazy life experiences. So are you dreaming? So as I reflect back on my 20-year journey, I get tears in my eyes. I have been transformed. Think about the word transformed. F-O-R, me, right? Transformed. I truly believe success is a process of self. It's understanding yourself enough to know that it's really not about you. Dan and I got married right out of college, and I was an operations manager for a large retailer. I worked 60 to 80 hours a week. Can any of you relate? Dan was an active reservist in the Army, and 2 months after we got married, we found out that my husband, Dan, was activated for the first Gulf War. And the day before he left, I found out I was pregnant. Dan returned home only 2 weeks before we had our first child, and 3 months later, my job transferred us out of state. And I could not pass up the transfer if I were to keep my job. I was a new mom, new job, no family, and working 60 to 80-hour work week. I would come home crying every single night. And I know how it feels not to have choices and not to know how to dream, only to survive the day. I would pray for God to lead me to an opportunity that I could spend more time with my son. But my heart whispered, Tammy, if you can work hard for someone else, what can you do for yourself? I wanted so bad to have more children, and the only way I knew to be able to be at home and to earn extra income was to have my own in-home daycare. I always say the story gets better. I went from wearing a suit every day to not brushing my hair till noon. Can anyone relate? And I went from having 1 child to 4. And with 4 children under the age of 7, my children were 5 months, not quite 2, 4, and 7. I thought, Tammy, you have your own daycare. You don't need to be doing that any longer. And that's when Mary Kay came in my life. You see, I realized if I could work hard for someone else, what could I do for myself? I had so much preconceived difficulty, but I also thought, what if this is what I've been praying for? And I discovered you don't always need to know how all the pieces are going to come together. You just need to do the work and believe that they will. My recruiter called me 3 times before I ever agreed to meet with her. So I started my Mary Kay journey. I rocked out a fast start. Debut, perfect, power, and $1,000 profit in my first 30 days, and I was on fire, and I was totally inspired. And then I came to a perfect stop. Has that happened to anyone? And sometimes, for some reason, it happened about 9 months into my business, and all of a sudden, there was nothing on my books. I paid more attention to the women that postponed and who wasn't calling me back, and started to work from a fixed emotional mindset. I started to forget my why, my purpose, the reason I started my Mary Kay business, which was to create a better life for my family. It started to become easy to use my 4 children as an excuse versus, well, an excuse for not making booking calls, for not calling, for not team building, instead of my reason. And I stayed in this awful place for a few months. It was 11 months in my business when I was sitting at the table with my husband, Dan, and we were talking about our Mary Kay business. And God whispered in my heart something that would change my life. Tammy, are you in Mary Kay for something to do? Or are you in Mary Kay to do something? I learned to have a curious mind. If I were to, that's what I always ask myself, if I were to do something, what would it be? I found myself in a magical moment that I shifted from my why me to why not me? Why not create the choices and magical moments in my life? And why not you? If what I say may apply to you or has already applied to you, would you please stand? Why not you? Be at home with your children, have no crazy morning, packing babies up in snowsuits. Why not you? Who would like to do that or who already does do that? Stand up and pause. How about pay cash for children's braces? Would you like to do that? Drive a new career car. I've been driving a career car for 19 years. How about make more Mary Kay business versus your full-time and create choices. Anyone, please stand. Stay standing. How about pay off previous college debt or pay 100% of your children or grandchildren's college education? Who would like to do that? How about take vacations that most people will put on a bucket list for after they retire and crazy life experiences like Destination Red and cruise to Bahamas? Who would like that? And who will you take with you? Will be your husband? Will be a romantic escape for the two of you, a honeymoon maybe you never had, or an anniversary, or maybe you're planning to renew your vows. But maybe you're a single, do we have any single moms in the room? Maybe it's your baby girl or baby boy that you want to take along with you. Or how about your mom that has been there for you, that has worked hard all of her life and never had an opportunity to go anywhere like this? Could you want to take her or your dad? Who could get excited about that? If you'd like to buy a dream home only on your Mary Kay business, would you please stay standing and shout out if you're interested? Why not earn a six-figure income year after year after year after year after year? Why not you be a Mary Kay millionaire? And feel the value to be rewarded in prizes and positive, honest recognition. Why not you? Okay, you can grab a seat. But let me ask you a question. Why not you? When your head and heart aligns, that's what forms a wave of greatness. I decide to let my why lead the way, replace my excuses with my vision. I decided to activate my passion and take quick action. Because you see, seeing faces take you places. Recruiters will recruit where they're in front of new people to recruit. Don't you guys agree? And so I did 10 share appointments when I made the decision sitting at the table, 10 share appointments in 1 week. But because I had passion and excitement, great things happened fast. I had one active team member at the time. That February, I was a team leader and on target for my car. That March, we had a team of 10 and we went into DIQ in April. And that's when I had my besties grab besties, right? And the strategy was 30 faces each month. And I earned my first career car. In July of 2000, I became a brand new director. In August 1st, we were a fabulous 50s unit. In 6 months, we went from 1 to 50. And you can too. Who depends on your success? Who depends? My children today have always been my reason. It was a blessing to have them stand on the seminar stage 7 years ago as a national area. My son Jameson is now 20, and Jameson was 13 years old when he stood there. And Jameson said, "Mommy, if I could pick one person in this world to admire, I would pick you. But don't tell Daddy, because I admire him too." He also wrote a story about what it means to be a hero. You see, you don't have to have a cape or special powers. A hero comes from within. He faced his fear of speaking and did it anyway. My daughter, Sarah, just turned 22, and she's a Mary Kay consultant. Yay! And Sarah wasn't quite 2 when I started my Mary Kay business. And a flash of grateful memories from finding her, like with my lipstick all over her face, all over her body, and said, "Sarah, what are you doing?" She's like, "Mommy, lipstick." And to her very first order when she was in kindergarten, when all the kids were asked to tell what they wanted to be when they grow up, my daughter said, "I want to be a Mary Kay assaultant." Okay. Her teacher sent home a note with an order form for the assaultant with an oil-free eye makeup remover. She'll never miss a seminar, and she has tenacity and love for her family's business. And I remember when I was finishing up my national area, and sometimes you just have to keep on keeping on keeping on. And when you keep on keeping on keeping on, you are going to be okay. You will be okay. You'll get there. So I said to her, "Sarah, I don't know, I might have to be gone 1 day or might be gone 3 days." And she said, "Mom, I love you and I love what you do. Go and finish." My son Nick is a senior in college, and he got it from the very beginning. When he was 4 years old, sitting in the big lazy boy chair as I was loading my car for a party, asked me, "Mom, are you going to work?" And I never used that word. "Oh, honey." I said, "Oh, honey, Mommy's not going to work. I'm going to a party." And he said, with his big, wide, blue eyes, he said, "Well, we're going to get that Cadillac fast. So we did, and he has always grown up in a pink Cadillac, picking him up at football games, and he's always dreamt of owning his own business, and it fills me with joy watching him dream and believe. My oldest son, Christopher, graduated from college with a double major, business and marketing, and married the most magnificent woman, Zenith, and we have our very first grandbaby, Liam, and we're expecting our second grandbaby in June. And I just think that 20 years ago, oh my goodness, my children, from being all different ages and stages and spaces and places, that I have got to enjoy this most amazing journey in Mary Kay. And I want to tell you that I believe in Mary Kay's dream with all of my heart, 100% inspired for my future. Are you 100% inspired for your future? I'm going to close by saying it doesn't have to take a lifetime to accomplish your dreams. It really does take a vision and a decision. Go for it. God bless you. God bless your family. And God bless our Mary Kay opportunity. Thank you so much.